The first match of the ICC Champions Trophy 2025 has come to an end, and I must tell you, the hosts are hosting an ICC event after 29 years, and Pakistan kicked off the Champions Trophy with a defeat against the Kiwis. And I welcome both of you. I welcome Rohan. I welcome Orko to the show. Welcome both of you. But I start with Rohan. You have watched many matches, many ICC tournaments, but we have always said this, and I've always said this when I've done previews of different teams in this Champions Trophy. New Zealand, never write off New Zealand, and they're always there. You cannot say doing an upset, but they're always there to silence the opponents. When we say now we have started speaking about Pat Cummings silencing the opponents, but this team has always done in ICC events.
Yeah, there's always a tag there, underdogs and underrated, but I feel they're very
100%.
clinical, efficient, well planned, a very well knit unit. No big names. Yeah, you can say add Williamson to it, but for a 1 day game, maybe not as such as with in Test match record. But overall, they just know how to come good as a unit. Everybody covers them up, especially the fielding aspect of it. I think that's where they leapfrog everybody, especially being in this group, which has a lot more Asian teams. I think New Zealand easily is the best fielding unit, and adding to it some a good captaincy by Santner as well. I think all these little things and doing it efficiently well, quietly sometimes in the background. I think that's where New Zealand always do well in ICC events, even against India in some big matches. I think maybe not much having pressure kind of makes them more easygoing and relaxed to be at their top of the game. I think that's where the New Zealanders are always one to watch out for in the ICC events.
Absolutely, they're always there at the peak. And you said about fielding, Orko. Talk us through that catch from Glenn Phillips. Glenn flying Phillips, and Mitchell Sanders said in the post-match presentation. Nowadays, you should be used to these things because Glenn Phillips does it often. And what a catch that was! And also about the wicket, because it was Mohammad Rizwan, possibly you can say their best batter. Because no disrespect to Bawar, I think at this stage Mohammad Rizwan is a bigger prize.
Absolutely, it was a very important wicket to get at that time. I mean, we do know that Pakistan were off to a very subdued start, but of course, Rizwan, if he would have settled the way he wanted and had gotten going, it would have been a dangerous situation for the Kiwis. And that at that moment, that kind of a catch to get rid of Rizwan, of course, it's not new to Phillips. Maybe he's perhaps, if not the best, but one of the best fielders in the planet, and he pulls out things which no one can. Even when he bats or he bowls, he's just an asset to this game. And also, if you look at, if you bring IPL cricket into context, it's surprising that the amount of impact he has in international cricket is not really visible in the IPL cricket because he just doesn't get his chances. So this time around, maybe with Delhi, he may get his chances, and you can hear his name a little more louder in the franchise cricket world as well.
True that, but you said about his batting as well. 61 of 39 scored, and he along with Tom Latham scored 112 runs in the last 10 overs for New Zealand. Was that 10 overs which took the game away from Pakistan?
Well, I don't think so because even if they hadn't scored those 112 runs, they would have still won the game because as we look at it, more than New Zealand winning it, I would say Pakistan lost the game because they really never really tried to win it. They were very suicidal in their approach, as I would call it, completely lackluster, non-competitive. Like they were just very easily playing down those dots. If you look, they almost had 150 to 160 dots put together in the entire game. That means 25 overs out of 50 if they happen to be dots, then you know that you're always ruining a 320 plus chase. So I think they dug their own grave and rather gifted the game to New Zealand more than New Zealand actually winning it.
True that. We said about Agha Salman, Khush Dilshan, possibly you can say Haris Rauf were the only best batters in the innings. But Rohan, Pakistan lost their opening game. They have the biggest one coming up on Sunday on the 23rd. But is it possible that the host can be knocked out inside the first week of the tournament?
Yeah, if that happens, I think no more this Kudrat ka Nizam and all those things will not be there. So I think keeping all that aside, as Orko rightly said, I think they just dug their own grave today with lack of intent. And of course, Fakazama not opening the batting as well. I think the power play usage was minimized there. And rightly, the dot balls also showed there. The intent was missing. Not sure about his injury update yet for the India game, but pretty much if because generally these days India isn't under so much pressure in the India Park game compared to the yesterday years. I think Pakistan will be under tremendous pressure. Adding to it being a host, though it will be in Dubai, I think it will only compound their woes. And if India just play just smart cricket, I think that should be enough to get them over the line. So I think
Absolutely.
edge, but Pakistan, we know sometimes when they're back against the wall, they're kind of enigmatic team that can surprise anyone. So I think just be wary. I think if India can just play. Just do the basics right, and that should be enough. And we do know certain people in our team also come the big day know to rise against the competitive Pakistan team as well. So I think
True
if
that,
they
but I'm sorry to disrupt you, but this is something I've got a comment. And Utsav, with his typical statistics, is always there in the YouTube sector. But this is something very which speaks volumes. Babar Azam has scored the second slowest 50 in 1 days for Pakistan in Champions Trophy. First being Nasir Jamshed 91, and now Babar Azam scoring 81, and his strike rate was 71. Talk us through that, Rohan.
I think if we mention about Nazir Jamshed, I think that was against India in Birmingham, but that was a overcast day in the 2013 Champions Trophy. Here it wasn't. It was a pretty much a good flat subcontinental
Exactly,
wicket,
yeah.
and we saw New Zealand plunder 320 on that pitch. I think the lack of intent and just this odd cover drives, anything to just please the crowd, weren't just enough, man. I think it was too little, too late. Yeah, he did miss Fakar Zaman maybe at the opposite end, but others also didn't quite
So
help
it
him
means
much.
that they are heavily reliant on one player to give them a blistering start at the top of the order.
Unfortunately, in this day and age, I think he's the only guy who has those modern cricket sense. I feel all others are still stuck in the mid 90s kind of template batting, where they like to
Harsh but true.
preserve the wickets and maybe go hard at the back end of the innings. But this day and age, you can't do that. You need to be fearless from the get go, especially when you're chasing above six and over. I think you need a very good foundation, irrespective of who you are and what image you carry. I think what's best for the team is what you need to do. And unfortunately, be it Babar or others, apart from maybe Rizwan, others really didn't quite. Felt good in this pitch, I think, and that's where they lost this game.
100%. And now we focus into the next game, which is Team India is taking the field. And I think this is where the tournament begins, because without Team India, the tournament doesn't begin. We hardly saw any fans despite the home side playing. It's India versus Bangladesh. And Orko, talking about India, Bangladesh in terms of Champions Trophy, and it is what the statistics looks like. India and Bangladesh faced each other in the Champions Trophy only once, way back in 2017, and it was a comprehensive 9 wicket win for India. What's your take on tomorrow's fixture?
Well, I think we do have the team which would easily upstage Bangladesh at this point of time. And, we also had this discussion before as to how they have made it into this particular tournament. Of course, the rankings are the ones which answer the question. But, there are teams like Sri Lanka who have been doing relatively well, but they have
I
not
heard by
been
the
anywhere
barest
near.
of margins in terms of net run rate, Sri Lanka have been knocked out.
Exactly, it's sad, and I think if you look at the current form of Sri Lanka, you would feel that maybe they would have been a bit more competitive as compared to the likes of Bangladesh, or even if you look at the way Pakistan played today. I know they're coming in with some good cricket, but suddenly the tournament starts and they have just forgotten how the game is played. So I think Bangladesh would be no different. I think that India certainly have the artillery to get past them with a lot of ease.
Okay, a lot of V's is what you're saying. Get past them. I think we shouldn't be overconfident when it comes to defeating any team. But yes, Jihan has a comment when it comes to Pakistan. He says heavily reliant on Fakhar Zaman and Babar Azam and Salman Ali Aga. He says Harish Rauf and Shaheen Afridi were toothless. Okay, that's something I should be familiar with that word. They are missing Shadab Khan. They don't have a proper frontline experienced spinner. They had Abrar Ahmed, but I've always asked this before as well when it comes to Shubhan and the others. Why no Shadab Khan for Pakistan one?
Maybe the past performances also, I think, where they tried to fit him in as a batter at number 4 or 5, I think that didn't work out for them. And unfortunately his bowling also was going downhill. That's where they lost out. I think that's the reason where someone like a wicket taking spinner like Abrar was called into the squad. And when Shada was playing, I think the media and ex players were also saying that Abrar is required and all, and even sometimes he was in the squad, wasn't played. Right now he's the only one who looks decent enough there. They have a couple of backups in the test squad. We saw Sajid Khan and all, but that's
Yeah.
red ball cricket. But unfortunately for white ball cricket, I don't see them having a really good wicket taking spinner to at least complement the fast bowling arsenal. Because once these guys go, unfortunately, with the new ball, Shine isn't at his peak. I feel Harris Roth, I think, coming back from injury, still not
Mhm.
in his proper rhythm. I think Naseem is the only one who looked like threatening enough. So you need to have a complete bowling unit, each one doing the role well. But unfortunately, Pakistan, I felt very scattered. Even to add Rizwan's captaincy also wasn't as good. I felt somewhere even the over rates were slow. So all
Oh,
this, I
yeah,
don't think he was on the
absolutely.
spot. So I think a lot of things went wrong for them, and the result is
And
what they
as
achieved.
Orko rightly said, was it like they took the game very casually?
More like they weren't prepared for it, or the kind of ideas and planning they had were very outdated. I feel they weren't spot on, hands on what's required for that particular situation. It's like they had some set templates beforehand and just kept following those like a timetable. I felt, but it wasn't modern day cricket, and I think there's a huge gap between the other countries and Pakistan's strategy, I feel still.
Okay, so when it comes to Pakistan, they need to look into themselves and work on a lot of things in the training ground before facing the mighty Indians. But Orko, we shift because we have all our games at the Dubai now. So we look into what the statistics holds like at Dubai, and here it is. When it comes to Dubai, we have seen 58 ODI matches have been played at this venue, Orko, and 34 times the teams batting second have gone on to win the game. Due comes into the factor. We have seen the T20 World Cup when held in 2021, win the toss, chase, and you win the game. But when it comes to the total, this is not a 300 wicket by any means. We talk about 250 to 275. What's your take? What should be the thoughts of both the captains when it comes to going out at the middle? Because this is not Pakistan, this is Dubai, different bowling wicket, different conditions, challenging one for the batters. What should be your thoughts?
Well, I think both the teams and the respective captains would look to play according to their strengths. Of course, India, you would not say that they have this one singled out strength. They are as good a team batting first as they are chasing. But I think it's Bangladesh who need to figure out what is their strength, whether they would prefer chasing or whether they prefer batting first. So I think it totally depends upon them because India would perhaps be happy with whatever the decision comes out through the toss. And I think that's what is going to decide this game for real because Bangladesh is the one who are more vulnerable at this point of time. And if you put, of course, the toss and the due factor into equation, then I think that most teams would prefer to bowl first. But again, if you bowl first against a team like India with the kind of bowling attack you have, if they plunder a target like New Zealand did today, then you're already finished for real. So I think it's Bangladesh who needs to figure out as to what they need to prioritize, whether they look at the conditions a little more or their own team strength to look at.
Yeah, true that. Both the teams need to look into, but you said heavily more on the Bangla Tigers. They need to look into that. But you said about the two captains and bring out both the captains, starting with mighty Indians. It's the hit man who is taking the field and leading Team India once again in an IC tournament. Orohan, we badly wanted this man to get behind and score some runs. We got King Kohli also in the third ODI getting some runs, getting a much needed half century. But Rohit Sharma got 100. How important was that to give him some confidence in the second ODI and now moving into such a big ICC tournament?
Very much because these two seniors, once they are in good touch, I think it's good for the fans also and within the team. When the seniors starting deliver, it kind of eases the youngsters' pressure also. Not to forget, Rohit has a very good record in Dubai as well. Not just the IPL, but in other games also, which internationally he has played. So I think always get a good feel good factor once you go to a place where you're done well. So I think Rohit coming good, especially in top of the order, that kind of just like we saw in the 2023 World Cup as well. He starts giving you those good starts. It eases the burden of the middle order and make sure we either if you are setting a total or chasing it, the run rate will never be a huge factor, and everybody can just go about the business bit more easily and eases the dressing room as well and as fans. So I think Rohit clicking here on a big stage, I think is always very crucial. And who knows here, you don't get these chances. Last time the Champions Trophy was missed. If Rohit comes good, I think is just another feather in his cap.
Okay, so you were expecting Rohit. I think everyone is expecting Rohit Sharma of 2023 World Cup, to be honest, to play that kind of innings. But there is a question for you, Orko. I'll hand it over to you and ask you the question. Both the teams have quality seamers in the side, and this is what Utsav is asking you. A question to the panel, and who do you guys think have a better pace attack between the two sides? Bangladesh, in his opinion, he has Shariful Islam, they have Mustafizur Rahman, Nahid Rana. On the other hand, we have Mohammad Shami, Arshdeep Singh, you can say Harshid Rana, as well as adding a little bit of Hardik Pandya there, Sakib at the other end. Your thoughts?
Well, I think overall we do have a better bowling unit, but that being said, we do know that Bangladesh have a bunch of players who are pretty experienced. Off rate, Nahid Rana among the youngsters has done pretty well, and of course Shoriful again a very impressive customer, especially in the death, the kind of deliveries he can put in, those cutters and all. He's a very handy player, and to lead the pack, they have Mustafizur. I'm not sure if Tuskin is in the team or not.
Taskin is
My
there, Shariful
corrections.
is not there.
Yeah, so Tuskin is obviously the one who starts definitely, because he's those power play wicket taker, and I think they may
He
even
leads the
think of
attack
playing that.
basically for Bangladesh.
Yeah, he leads the attack because if you look at Mustafizur as a third seamer, then certainly it's Tuskin and Shoriful who start the proceedings of the power play. So it's
No,
pretty evenly
Shariful
matched.
is not there in the side. They have Nahid Rana
Okay,
or Sakib.
so it is Nahid Rana and Tuskin. Yeah, so I think they still do have a formidable unit, but if you look at experience overall, maybe you might think that people like Arshdeep or Harshit Rana might be a little under experienced in terms of ODI cricket, but they do have Shami. I think if Shami comes good, you know that he has a spice or two when it comes to the ICC event. So if he gets going, then certainly we have obviously the right kind of troops to march forward.
100%. And when it comes to ICC tournaments, the excitement always is there. But when it comes to the comment section as well, we have discussions going on about cricket. But also out here, we have a Real Madrid fan. And in the comments, we have a Real Madrid fan. He says, Hala Madrid for the big win tonight. He predicts a win. So if you guys are football fans as well, you all know it's a big Champions League night tonight, Man City versus Real Madrid. But we focus back to cricket now, Orko. He has a big smile on his face because he knows they have a lead moving into their home ground. But Najmul Hussain Shanto or Rohan, when we come to this, and firstly we'll talk about him as a captain. When we talk about him as a captain, he has experienced group of players. Mushfiqur Rahim is there, Mahmadullah is there, but he won't have the services of the biggest experienced player, Shakibul Hasan, because he has been ruled out. Your thoughts on how he should take things against it's a huge game for Bangladesh because they're facing off directly versus India, and if they lose, they will be on the back foot just like Pakistan. What should he do as a captain in such a big game?
I think to begin, he has a good pace attack. So if the pace attack can come good, I think there's one more guy, Tanzid Hassan. He was pretty impressive when they'd come to India as well. So if the Pacers can maybe nick a few off early on, I think that's where they have a chance to limit India. But overall, as Orko rightly said, India has a more balanced attack with the combination of the Pacers and the spinners. And we have seen sometimes if Pacers don't deliver up front, they can always come back in the mid overs and pick your wickets as well. So I think that's where India's strength is. But the pitch will be a huge factor if it can be a bit too paced at times, and the heat of Dubai. I think that will be a huge thing, which
Huge.
people are not thinking because it's 1.5 hour behind us. So at almost a mid-afternoon game will be draining on a lot of players. So the toss can be a factor. If you get to bat well, just two of your players are in the sun, whereas the 11 in the opposition are in the sun to bake them as well. So I think that can be a strategy if you use it properly in Dubai. Uh, Given the kind of season that we are into after the ILT20 and all, but I think India can be smart with their bowling as well. We have seen our Deep has grown in confidence a lot in though in the T20 game. I'm pretty sure under Shami's mentoring, I think he'll come good as well. We've seen what Harshit Rana brings to the table. Can get a bit erratic in the start of the power play, but he always has delivered that he has a good temperament to come back. So I think
Mm-hmm.
even Hardik Pandya's role within the
Yeah.
power play with the new ball to support the other two seamers will be also crucial, because we know India likes to have those depth in the batting order and the we can say a 3+3 kind of a seamer spinner combination. So overall, I think India has the depth to just be smarter than Bangladesh, because Shanto, I think I just saw in the press conference, he said they're here to win the trophy. Good to say the words, but end of the day, you need to have the
I'm sure.
pieces.
When I read that, I read a few comments. He said, "Did Shanto see the movie '83 quite often?" Because Kapil Dev said the same.
Yeah, I mean, end of the day, he can't be a Kapil Dev, man. There's only one, right? Due respect to Shanto, but their batting is a bit susceptible. Young Tawhid Hriday looks good, but uh, you need a very capable unit, which Bangladesh is lacking. Yes, they have the heart, the passion in the fans, etc. But
Mhm.
as a unit, I think even the one-day game, especially, I think they're just like Pakistan, a bit behind the modern-day cricket, the lack of power hitters and all those things. They don't have someone like a Litton Das. I think I'm very, very surprised they don't have him, for whatever reasons it is best known. But you need some quality players and experienced players in ICC events to come good. So I think that's where they're lacking. Shanta is a huge task with him to
Absolutely.
manage his resources and come good. As you said, maybe the one of the quicker exits of this tournament, maybe Bangladesh.
Okay, so you're saying Bangladesh could be one of the quicker exits of the tournament. You have Pakistan on the other end who could just get knocked out on Sunday as well. We will see what happens. But we're talking about the players to watch out for both the teams. Let's start with Team India. And Orko, here are my three players to watch out for. ICC, even Virat Kohli is always there on the cards, but these are the three players I've gone. I'm surely before I'm telling you on Sunday, it has to be Virat Kohli, one of the players to watch out for versus Pakistan. But Rohit Sharma, Shreya Iyer, and Arshdeep Singh are my three players to watch out for. Orko, your thoughts on that? And just like we have got a comment about this, he says, Jian says, I'll again say Arshdeep Singh is going to be the X factor in this tournament for Team India. No Jasprit Bumrah, but I think this man leads the pace attack for India despite having Shami.
Absolutely. I think I've been even telling this in the India England tour as well because Ashdeep does have the quality. I know people are format specific, but the amount of experience he's already garnered in the T20 arena or even IPL for that matter is more than enough for him to do well even when he has to bowl 10 overs a game. So I think he will be an X factor. He brings that left arm rarity, of course, which we will badly miss among our seamers. So I think he's experienced enough, even though maybe he doesn't have the numbers in the ODI game which people talk about. So certainly he will be an X factor that India would look at. And Shreyas Iyer, as you also mentioned in the top three players to watch out for, he's that middle order enforcer. And if you look at India, I think you would expect them to follow the same template as they did in the 2023 World Cup with Rohit
Absolutely.
going hard. Yeah, Rohit going hard, maybe Gill playing the anchor, then Shreyas again goes hard, Virat plays the anchor. And I think Gambhir would be no different, even though we have a different coach from what we had in 2023. The approach would pretty much be the same. Just one bad day, which made us lose the World Cup final, I'm sure. But I think you cannot question the tactics which we had in that entire tournament. And I think
Go
it will
on,
be
go
no
on. You were
different.
saying the top four, and number five looks to be the most important and debatable point. Who is it with the gloves?
I think it has to be KL Rahul. I mean, even the stats speak for him because he averages 50 plus playing at five. I know people have their opinions about him post the World Cup final with regard to Test cricket, T20 cricket, but I think in ODIs you still don't have the resources to replace Rahul. I'm not saying that no one can be better than Rahul, but at this moment there isn't anyone who's better than Rahul among the limited resources we have in a middle order keeping order. I mean, keeping position. I think Pant certainly justifies his place in Test maybe even in T20s, but it's a bit too early to talk about him in ODIs just yet. So, and given the fact that we already have Jadeja, Aksar in two left-handers, I think you certainly don't need a third one. So Rahul certainly plays at number five for me.
Okay, KL Rahul plays at number five for you. But Rohan, your question has been answered by our statsman. Litton Das averaged one in ODIs in 2024. That's why he's out, and rightly so. We have got Jaker Ali, who is also in red hot form for Bangladesh, and I think he deserves a spot in the side. Maybe he gets a game in the ODI game versus India. But moving on to the players to watch out for Bangladesh as well, and here are my three players to watch out for, Rohan. Mehdi Hassan Miraz, Mushfiqur Rahim, and Taskin Ahmed are my three players to watch out for. Your picks, please.
Yeah, Mehdi Missan Miraj, because being an all-rounder in this unit, I think he's very capable. He can ball with the new ball as well, a handy off spinner, good lower order runs as well. I think he did well against India in the last series. We went there, pulled off an absolute nervy chase for them. Very good talent, I felt. Mushfiqur Rahim always been good against India. At times can get rattled if you push him at the with some good short stuff there, like a Shami or a Arshdeep, somebody can, or even Hardik can get into him. But for me, along with him, someone like a Naid Rana, if he because he has the pace, he has the height. Uh, I think he can be a bit of an X factor against us. Tuskin, though, is more senior and pro. I think Naid Rana is a guy. I think we saw in the recent Test series when they were down here. I think he did pretty well. Even in Pakistan, against Pakistan, also he did well. So Naid Rana, if he plays, can be a X factor as well. I think these are few guys. Sorry, I forgot the best guy who has always played well against it. Someone like Mustafizur. I think
Oh,
he can
yes.
be a real death bowler specialist for them, that he can be a problem for us in case we want to do the acceleration at the fag end. I think Mr. Fizur can be a guy that we can be careful against.
Okay, so you've given your three players to watch out for Bangladesh, and they need to be careful against India because we all know the experience the Indian players have in their tanks. You've given your three players. Orko has given us three players for Team India, and let's look into the battles to watch out for this game. And I've gone with my three choices. I'll quickly show all three of them together. And I've gone with my three players to watch out for, starting with Rohit Sharma versus Taskin Ahmed. I've gone with Mohammad Shami versus Najmul Hussain Shanto. And I've also gone with Kuldeep Yadav versus Mahmadullah Riyad. Orko, are there any other battles you are firmly going to watch out for apart from these three?
Well, I think Tuskin versus Rohit would also be a very interesting battle. Of course, Tuskin would certainly play, and knowing that Rohit goes after the bowlers in the power play, and with Tuskin obviously being the power play leader, I think that would be a very wonderful battle to watch out for.
Okay, so you've given Taskin versus Rohit, which was my third one. Anything different for you, Rohan? Maybe possibly Rishad Hussain, the leg spinner versus Virat Kohli?
I'll add even Shreyas Iyer against the spinners, because he is one of the guy who can take down the spinners. He loves to play aggressive shots against them, so he can give you those momentum in the middle overs against the spinners in a ground like Dubai, which is pretty huge. I think if you can take down the spinners, I think that's like half the battle won in the middle over. So I think Shreyas Iyer is one more guy whom I'll add on, and
Okay, Shreyas,
Ashdeep,
yep.
with the new ball against the Bangladeshi openers.
Okay, Arshdeep Singh, as always, you guys have said, and even Jian has said in the comments, Arshdeep Singh is our main threat, and he will go all guns blazing with the new ball at the death as well. He's a death specialist. He might also be handy for India. You've gone with the battles as well as done and dusted. Let's move on to the most debatable one, which is the predicted playing 11. I'll start with Team India, and this is what I have chosen, guys, for Team India's prediction. I think it sums it up. Players pick themselves, to be honest. Starting with you, Rohan. Any changes?
No change. I think this is the perfect 11 to begin the tournament. You want the senior most guys to start as well. Yes, you can think of someone like a Chakravarti or a Harshit Rana, but I think start of a ICC event, you want your senior most guys to come and deliver. All these guys can only come in if there's an injury, or sometimes based on the conditions and the opposition, you can change. But I think this suits because it covers all bases there, the spinners and the seamers, as well as good enough batters. I think this pretty much a perfect 11 for India to begin.
Okay, perfect 11 for India. According to you, you said about Harshid Rana and Varun Chakravarti, both are KKR players. So it would be harsh if I don't ask a KKR teammate about it. KKR Orko, Harshid Rana, Varun Chakravarti, not in my 11. I want to add one more player, Washington Sundar. Maybe Gambhir goes for the twinker, as Bangladesh have a lot of left-handers, drops Akshar Patel and plays Washington Sundar. Is that happening?
Well, it could happen. I mean, I don't see Varun and Harshit playing in this 11 just yet, but because Gambhir does like a lot of matchups, even when he was in KKR, he targets players to play specifically. Like if you look at the RCB game, he played Anukul Roy just for Virat Kohli, knowing his left arm spin weakness. So I think in that context, maybe Washi could play ahead of an Akshar, but otherwise the rest of the team will stay the same. And there's no way Harshit or Varun can make themselves in this playing 11 just yet.
So you're saying you're sticking? Is it you're sticking to Akshar Patel as of now? You're saying Washington Sundar?
Well, I think Gambhir might go for Washington Sundar, but then again, if he sticks with stability, then maybe Akshar would continue to play and he might also get the job done.
Absolutely, because you cannot forget Akshar Patel with the bat as well. He has been so underrated. I think Akshar Patel might just be handy with the bat once again for Team India. This was our predicted playing 11 for India. Move on to predicted playing 11 for Bangladesh, guys. And here it is. I had to pick the three seamers, and I was confused when it comes to. I had to leave out Tanzin Hassad Saqib, so I've gone with Taskin Ahmed, Mustafizur Rahman, and Nahid Rana by three seamers. While the others pick themselves, to be honest, I've gone with Jakar Ali, and I have given him the gloves as well, not Mushfiqur Rahim. Your thoughts on this 11, please, Rohan?
I think again, just like the Indian team 11, I think Bangladesh also this is a settled 11. Yeah, few combinations as you said they can try, but I think this should be the 11 that they should go for based on the experience and the current form. I think this is what suits them more better.
So you said about Tohid Ridoy before as well. Does he have a chance in this 11?
I personally like him, the kind of flamboyance he has with and being a very upcoming talent. I think he has a long future ahead for him. Maybe possible captaincy also in the future because he has smart brain. I have seen him, so I think again. I don't know where to fit him in, but maybe going into the tournament, you can see the impact of his talent within the group against Pakistan or maybe even New Zealand. But maybe at the start, unfortunate to miss out.
Okay, so you're saying unfortunately miss out, but here's a comment for you, Orko. I'll give it to you. Coming from Deepak, welcome to the show. Virat and Rohit's form hasn't been that good in the recent time, keeping aside that half century and century, to be honest. Can Bangladeshi new ball bowlers put India under pressure and get the two big fishes? What do you guys think? Who will it be, rather?
Well, they could. I mean, I feel Tuskin certainly has it in him, as a power play leader to do that. And even Nahid Rana, of course, because he's unpredictable. He's someone whom people haven't seen much of. Of course, they have seen him in the Test series, but that, again, being said, it's a track which is different from the one we played the Test series in. So I think certainly Rohit and Virat and whoever plays up front in the top order would certainly be aware of this. But again, given the fact that they're experienced, I think they will certainly manufacture a way out of this.
Okay, so you're saying the big guns will always manufacture a way out of this, and especially in the ICC tournament, we know how good Virat Kohli is in an ICC tournament. Moving on to the predictions time now, folks. This is where you need to fasten your seat belts and get ready with your predictions percentage. Starting with you, Rohan, it's India versus Bangladesh, the first game for both the teams at Dubai. Your percentage, please.
I think 100% India, man. I think they
100%.
look good. Uh, Not being so overconfident, but just the way the Indian team has moved on. I think they want this win and this trophy pretty badly, and you can see that in Rohit in his press conference, in his body language, and around the group as well. So I think a lot of effort is being put into this tournament. Bangladesh can just yeah can give you a bit of a headache at times, as Oggo rightly said with the Pacers, but we don't want maybe a clinical victory or something. Even if the players can get that first game kind of that syndrome that we have at times, being a jittery starter, I think this Indian team has that firepower to just move forward against or even just bulldoze Bangladesh. We know that, but I would have wanting this team to get good test from Bangladesh, so that maybe the next game, which is against Pakistan, will be a
Mhm.
real pressure cooker situation. So I
Knockout
think
game.
knockout for Pakistan, but I think just to ease into a tournament in a mental good space, I think I want India to be tested by Bangladesh. Yeah, India should win and will win, but we need a bit of a challenge there so that come the big game against Pakistan, all our players are well equipped. That's what I want to see in this game.
Since the time I've begun this predictions thing in my channel, I've never heard a person saying 100 is to nil. This is the first time, and it's India versus Bangladesh. Orko, to you as well. predictions first, your percentage in short, and then I'll ask you another question.
Well, I think, of course, being a man with Bengali roots, I think I would just give 10% to Bangladesh. But other than that, you can't really, get past India that easily with the kind of form they have. I mean, আসছে বছর আবার হবে, as they call in Bengali. Will it happen this time around? We don't know. But এই বছর, I don't think they have too much of a chance against India.
You have pretty much summed up everything. In Bengal, you've said এই বছর হবে না for Bangladesh, আসছে বছর maybe. You said 90-10 when it comes to India winning it comprehensive. Both the teams are saying hands down, Team India winning their first game tomorrow at Dubai. Get ready because it's toss time at 2 p.m. Indian Standard Time. Rohit Sharma, Najmuluddin Shantan. I'm saying from before as well, it's going to be Ravi Shastri with the coin toss as well. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you to all the viewers for watching this video. It's India versus Bangladesh, the second match of the ICC Champions Trophy 2025. Sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fifth Umpire. Press the bell icon as well. Thank you so much, and bye bye.